I'm excited too. Hello, Mr. Brandon. Who did you bring with you today?
I brought my beautiful wife.
She is beautiful. If you guys are not watching this, go on YouTube, go on Spotify. You guys need to see Miss Jackie. Jackie girl. Welcome, Jackie. It's so nice to meet you finally. I know I've been seeing you more on the OAP podcast. A Project podcast. You guys go check them out. Please give them your social media handles before we even start.
Yeah, go ahead, babe.
Okay, so you start.
Okay. Well, guys, you guys can check us out on Instagram. We're on every platform, really. The podcast page is Once a Project Podcast. If you guys look that up on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, you guys will find it. The handle for Instagram for the podcast is the OAP official on Instagram. My personal Instagram is Brandon A. Lara, and then Jackie's personal Instagram is
It's J with 3ACKIE_.
Yeah, so you guys can go check us out there.
Yes. And in the description box, I'll go ahead and put all the links. And then if you guys are watching us, I'll put it here in the screen as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm excited.
Yes, I'm excited. So if you guys still remember, Brandon was with us, a couple months ago. I don't think it was that long ago, was it? It kind of went by fast.
No, I think it's been like a year now.
It's almost going to be a year. You know why? Because Jackie was pregnant by then.
Yeah, I was barely,
Yeah, she was barely pregnant.
Mm-hmm. And they already had the baby, you guys. Super. But you know what? I have a complaint against you, Mr. Brandon.
Oh, why?
Because the baby looks just like you. Jackie, you did not involve Jackie at all.
I carried that baby for 9 months and looks
no.
like him.
My dude, move out the way. Here I come.
You know what, though? My husband would say that only means how strong my genes are. I'm a man.
I'm with that right there. Yeah, he looks a lot like me. If you see pictures of me when I was a baby and put them next to him right now, you're like, holy smokes, he's like look alike a lot. It's crazy.
His little twin, for sure.
But the one thing that he does have that I think beats all the looks that are like mine are his eyes, because his eyes are just like his mom's. They're beautiful, they're big, and they're round. So,
he got the best part of mom.
Hell yeah.
Well, you know what? And I always find that when the son looks like his dad, that means his personality is going to be like mom's.
Oh, thank God.
Yes. I tell you by experience. Yeah,
your son is how old now? 15?
Yeah, he's going to be 16 soon. Yes. And the reason why I'm so obsessed with Brandon and Jackie, you guys, is because they remind me so much of my husband and I when we first started. It's like watching me all over again.
Yeah, you only have one son though, right?
Yeah. For medical reasons, only one.
But I think it also helps in a way because, right now life is I think for anyone, whether you have a son or not, or a kid, it's hard because the economy is so difficult out here now, so in times like this, I look at one way or another. Either I break and do nothing to better our lifestyle, or find ways to better our lifestyle so that more income can come home, so that she can stay home longer and whatnot. So it's like it's a lot going on all at once.
Yeah, it's a lot to handle. And then you guys are newlyweds, but I love how open you're being about it, because this is what transparency looks like. I love that you guys are being transparent, because it is definitely something very difficult. I feel like a lot of people don't understand how much work goes behind content creation, and it's something that brings joy, but at the same time, it is a job. It's still a job. So the fact that you guys are putting so much in it, I just want to say, as a listener of your podcast, I really love the dynamic of you two. Like, I don't mind the guest. Like, that was really good, but I want more of you two.
Yeah. And that's something that it's interesting enough that you say that because and she can vouch to this. We had that be told to us by other people that listen to the podcast,
Mhm.
and I think that when we did this whole switch and our son came around, we were like, hey, let's build our foundation on us first, and then we'll start implementing different things like guest and other things around because it's very
Yeah.
important. I think it's the foundation of what you're gonna create, whether it's content creation or a business or whatever, is very important because that's what's gonna be stable.
Mm-hmm.
So
And I mean, it's also hard finding guests.
where we live, it's
Yeah,
difficult,
it's
and I'm sure it's difficult for you too, who you do the Zoom calls, and that's how
Yes.
you get your content. And I'm sure it's difficult to find guests and
Yes.
keep on that list growing. But
And not only that, but when you have, a certain subject or you kind of created something around a certain narrative, right? Like for me, I want to highlight people. I want to for you guys to share your stories and find out that you're not alone sometimes in the struggles or the things that we go through, right? So finding people that fit that narrative, finding people that have the time, finding the time where we can connect. Oh, it's very difficult. Very, very
yeah,
difficult.
but also on the pro side, you get to meet a lot of cool people through having guests, and your network gets to expand, which you don't know what opportunities can come through those people, and a lot of the guests we've had have been because of that, just by we have a guest come in and they say, hey, you should have this person come in, and then next thing you know, that person comes in, and it's a snowball effect. So it has its pros and cons. I think at the end of the day, whether you're doing your content, you kind of have to decide what you want to start with, and I think that's important. So that's what we have been doing lately, just really setting our foot down and putting our flag and saying this is how we want our
Yes.
content to be, you know?
And I can tell, like I said, as a listener, as a fan of you guys, I can tell. And I just really enjoy both of you. And I'm like, okay, are we ever gonna get like a Brandon and Jackie and baby like vlog? Like, are we gonna be getting those type of styles? Is Jackie
Yeah.
gonna come on and talk about how Brandon leaves his socks and doesn't pick them up? And
I never finish.
girl, and
No,
you'll
I
never be
told
done, girl.
yeah.
Yeah.
We've talked about starting vlogs and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
maybe in the future
Yeah. We
we'll
have
do
big
that.
plans for sure,
That's awesome.
We have recorded a few
yeah,
vlogs,
we
but
do
we
have a few
just
vlogs. We're just, we're getting comfortable with vlogging because vlogging is a completely different type of content than podcasting. You're in a room by yourself, maybe with the guests, you get a little nervous or whatnot, but most of the time you're by yourself and it's stationary, you're not moving around. And there's no other people seeing you. With vlogging, we've done it before and it's different, pulling out your phone and recording yourself. And so that's one. The other thing too is that we want to make sure that our content is good quality. We don't want to just give out any type of quality
Mhm.
content. We want to give good quality because I think that OEP as a brand, that's what it represents, good quality content. And so with that, we also are waiting to get some equipment to provide that good quality, and that's something we're waiting on. But aside from that, it's difficult vlogging. I mean, it's scary out there.
Yes. It really is. They make it seem so easy. I remember
Yeah.
I tried and I'm like, how the heck do people do this? Like, I cannot have my phone 24/7, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
recording everything that I do. But I think that's very important what you said, making sure that you're giving quality content, not just content, because you can post whatever, but have it with a purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like she said too, it's also fun. Like I recorded myself, it was for what, for New
Dude,
Year's?
yesterday I went to the restroom. This was at night.
Oh yeah.
I went to the restroom and I heard that he came to the living room. And I was like, oh, I think he's back in bed. So when I came out, he had the lights off and he was recording and he decides to like scare me. And he recorded that. And I was like, dude.
I was like, it's
And
not a
you
vlog.
laugh, and he laughs.
I'm like, okay.
No, sometimes I'll wake up like in the morning on a Saturday and I'll just start recording myself and then I'll look at it later. I'm like, dang, I look
We have
crusty.
some funny videos recorded,
Yeah.
but
But we're just getting used to it, you know? It's one of those things that yeah, it just takes practice, I guess. But it's fun. It's very fun to record yourself. You know, for New Year's we were or Christmas, I think. No, it was for New Year's. The day we went to my mom's, right, and I got drunk. And then the next day we stopped by gas station to get myself
yeah.
a Pedialyte, and I was recording myself inside the gas station. I was like, okay, this kind of feels pretty cool, you know. And then I look at the footage and I'm like, dang, I don't even have an angle. Like it's facing down. Like I'm not even talking to the camera, you know. I'm being all
It's like
shy.
facing to the ceiling.
Yeah. But yeah, it's cool. We'll do the vlogs soon, I
Yeah.
think though, for sure.
Yes, I'll definitely look forward to that. Even if it's just like maybe behind the scenes of the work that you guys do
Yeah.
for the podcast, you know, and maybe the struggles that you get through, that you have to get through, that would be pretty interesting to see it as a viewer,
Yeah.
you know, and as a fellow podcaster, that there's so much that goes into it. And people just see, you know, the final product and it's like, oh, I could do that. Like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those late nights, nadie te los
Yeah.
regresa.
No.
Mm,
And that's, you know, that goes into with like having a baby too. Like a lot of people ask us, like, you probably don't sleep at night and this and that, right? And we do. I think we get a good amount of sleep, because our baby's really good. But the one thing that I think both of us can agree to is that um, the what you don't get back is the waking up, you know, to give him his milk. You know, even though you're just waking up for 2 minutes, make the milk and give it to him, and then you know you go back to sleep and whatnot. Those 2 minutes you don't get back, and that's I think been the hardest things with feeding him at nights.
it's tough. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
Is
but
mommy
because even the
feeding? Are you breastfeeding, Jackie?
No, with formula.
Okay, good. Because, oh,
Yeah.
breastfeeding is a whole nother monster.
No, I thought about it, but I was like, no. Because what if I want to go back to work or this or that? And I was just thinking, I was like, I'll just do formula.
Yeah,
yeah
yeah. Um, I was gonna ask you guys. So, my thing would be, you know, you mentioned you wanna continue to grow. You wanna continue where you see yourself right now for your podcast, for the projects that you have in mind. What is the baseline of your content? What do you want it to focus on, or what is your message that you want to convey?
Go ahead.
That's a good question.
I was like, that's a loaded question right there.
Yeah, I
He's
don't
like,
know.
you got it, girl.
I think you're the star of this episode, so I'm gonna let you answer this.
Come on. Um,
So when you say baseline, just to kind of
yeah.
like get in detail with the question, it's like what the content is about and what like where we want it to go.
Yes, where are you visioning yourself and going?
Okay.
I mean, I think that's changed.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's changed.
I
I
think
guess I'll
we
answer it.
don't, I don't think we really know
Yeah.
because right now we're still kind of trying to figure out what we're,
Yeah. I think um in the beginning we wanted the podcast. In the beginning she wasn't too involved in the podcast as much,
Mhm.
like in the meaning of like she was there obviously to help me record and whatnot and with the
But she
guests
was behind the scenes.
behind the
Mhm.
scenes, right?
Yeah.
And she wouldn't talk too much and whatnot. And that's changed now so much. So in the beginning, it was more so like educating and giving, you know, educational content to people that can help them through guests. You know, that content would come through guests.
Okay.
I think now we've pivot that it's still educational in the sense of like maybe we'll talk about couple like us struggling as a couple, you
Yeah.
know. We're very careful with also with what we post and what we say on the podcast, you know, because that's something that me and her have agreed since day one, like, hey, certain things we will, certain things we won't.
Mhm.
Um, so we're very careful, but we still want to, you know, provide some type of educational content, but more so, I think it's more so like family orientated and comedy, you
Mm.
know. And if you listen to the podcast, you will get a lot of that vibe where it's a couple that's young who has a son and they talk shit to each other sometimes, but they also have a good time. And
But then we also have the other side when guests come in,
yeah,
and that one goes back to what we were
to
doing
the
before.
educational side.
Yeah.
So I think we're in that range where it's, entertainment, I think is a broad word, but entertainment where it has comedy, it has your family orientated, type of feeling and vibe, but it also has your educational side.
Mm.
So that's where we're at right now. And 5 years from now, I think, um, or even 2 years from now, let's say, I think it'll be very much more so that still like very family orientated, especially if the vlogs start to come out. But there's also other projects we have in mind that I think will provide more education and more. There's certain things I'm very interested about, but I don't want to associate those things with OAP necessarily.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. Now, right now that you guys were saying, like, say that you were, because it seems like this is something that you guys really discuss and you guys really want to be both on the same page about, and I love. But I'm wondering, from a content creator point of view, have you guys ever feared that if you start sharing a little bit more about your life, it will affect your real life?
100%. Yeah, you gotta think about that stuff when you're posting your life on internet. Um, and let's take it like a step. Let's take a step back. Let's not even say so much personal life, but let's say Jackie or me wants a career in finances or insurance, right? 5 years from now, right? You got to think about what you're going to be saying now that could affect you in 5 years when you go for that interview. You know, hopefully, God willing, you don't have to go to the interview because you'll be earning money through your content. But let's say you're not. Let's say it takes you longer than that to earn your income. You have to think about that stuff. Now, if you take a step deeper, like you said, personal relationship, one thing that I think me and her have really discussed and molded was that although we want to, because listen, there's been episodes that we recorded where they start really good, huh?
Yeah.
And then one of us
Her
say
face.
something.
It's those good episodes
Yeah.
that sometimes we can't post
Yeah.
because of certain things that we say. We're
Yeah.
like, oh, like we don't catch on to it till it's too late.
Well, yeah, because you guys are just having normal conversation in between you. You forget that this is going to go out to the world.
Yeah. One of us say something, and then I'm listening to it as I'm editing, and I'm like, we can't post that.
Or right after we're done recording, we're like, okay, we said this and we probably shouldn't post
Yeah.
that because
And they're good episodes. They're probably the
Yeah.
best episodes, and they're probably the ones that would get us more listeners and views and all that stuff. But again, do you want that much of your personal life out there? Because at the end of the day, you know, yes, she's my wife and all, like, but in the podcast room, she's my co-host. You know, behind the scenes with other projects, she's my business partner. Out of this room, she's my wife. So I have to protect my marriage first before any of those. Does that make sense? Like,
Yes,
I don't want
100%.
I don't want my co-host to affect my marriage.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, I'm going to sleep with my wife as much as she's going to sleep with her husband, right?
Yes.
So it's like it goes both ways, and so that's what you have to think about as a couple. Because we've seen couples, right, on YouTube and other places like on content that they just talk shit to each other like it's no other, and it's like, damn, I wonder how they sleep at night.
yeah.
Like, how good is their marriage or their relationship behind the scenes?
And sometimes it could seem like, oh, they're just joking with each other, they're making jokes or whatever. But I think what you just said is very important. You don't want your co host to mess up your marriage.
Yeah.
One thing is joking on her and having us all watch it, but there might be a point where it can really like affect her personally because it's a joke, right? We're all laughing, but maybe it's something that truly affects her. Like lines can be crossed. And so the reason why I ask is because as much as I'm interested in seeing more of you guys as a family and family content and doing all that, I would hate for that to affect you because social media is not real, right?
Yeah.
And so the fact that you have that mentality, props to you, Brandon. And congrats to you, Miss Jackie.
Yeah. That's like I remember us having a conversation very early on when our son was, first newborn, um, where she would post pictures about him, and I wouldn't I don't post too much like about my son on Instagram, but she does, and that's great and all. But I remember having a conversation where I was like, later on, if this YouTube thing, if this podcast thing kicks off and it really gets to a level where, you know, where it's not just 30 listeners or whatever, it's by the millions, let's say, we have to be really careful about his privacy and his protection,
Yeah.
So at a certain age, if this YouTube thing kicks off at a certain age, we can't post his face anymore. Not because we don't want to, but because people will see who he is, that can then they use that against us to get whatever they want, because social media is growing, and your privacy is only getting smaller and smaller by the years. And I don't want my son, and later on if we have more kids, to be affected by that, you
No.
know
They should be able to have the right to choose if they want to be on social media. And that's after they hit an age where they're mature enough to make that decision.
hmm
Yeah.
I agree 100% with you guys. If you guys follow me on my personal page, even on my Finsta, because I do have a Finsta where I only have like family in there and really, really close friends, um, I don't really post my life like that. You'll never see a picture of my son. You'll never see a video of my son. My son has never been seen on the internet. He doesn't even want his name out there. And now that he's 16, I mean, or soon to be 16, he can choose, but he's like, Mom, I don't want my name out there. I'm like,
yeah.
okay, that's fine. My husband, the same thing. He's like, I support you, everything, but I do not need you to be worrying about, somebody criticizing us or whatever, porque también somos bien llevados, mi esposo y yo. Like, we have some really deep conversations that sometimes he's like, this should be on your podcast. I'm like, okay, relax, buddy. Relax. Pero I 100% agree.
Ew. Yeah, yeah, that's something that we're super careful about too. And even early on, like before we call this a new studio because it's like a new setup. But before this setup, there'd be certain conversations where I would say stuff, and I would tell her, I can't be saying that anymore, or I can't be mentioning this person anymore, or this or this,
Yeah.
you know, because at the end of the day, the most important thing is like your nucleus, right? Your nuclear family, which is your close ones, and you don't want to affect those relationships by, you know, saying something on the internet or posting something that maybe
You're going
later
to
on.
regret. Yeah.
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 So we're super careful about that stuff too, and
Yeah, and we also just try not to record if we're having a bad day or something, or if
yeah,
we're mad at each other or something.
yeah,
'Cause I feel like people can feel that, and we
yeah,
Oh,
just
of
don't want to.
course. Of course. And then it's going to feel awkward like I'm the third person in the room and there's a big elephant. I don't want to feel
yeah, yeah.
that.
Yeah, that's one rule we have, and we started with this rule, and we said to each other, you know, whether one of us is having a bad day, or we're having a bad day together, and it's just
Mm.
we're not vibing, we're not recording, we're not gonna force it. Even the other day, we had a conversation, and this is what we were talking about, right? We had a conversation, we were doing a podcast, and one of us said something that hurt the other person more, right? It
Okay.
was a joke, but it hurt that person more than
What it
what
was
that joke
meant
was.
to be. Hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. So right away, the person who said the joke noticed that, right? And the only reason why I'm saying the person is because I don't want to, be
Out,
calling out
air
people.
out. No, no, no. Don't do that. I don't want you
No,
sleeping on the couch tonight, Brandon.
For real.
no, but yeah.
Forget the
So
couch outside.
uh, that was cool out there. Um, so anyways, yeah, the person noticed that right away that the joke kind of
Mhm.
hit a soft spot, and
They
stopped right
just cut
away.
it. Yeah.
And then right after that, we had a 45-minute conversation about that joke and why, and it went deeper than that. And then next thing you know, we're having this conversation. And so right after that, though, like the vibe kind of lifted up again, and we got on good terms, and we understood each other, and we said, okay, let's get this done. We can't be
Mhm.
slacking over here. So we get back to recording, and we record a great episode, and then that's just sometimes that's what happens. People don't see that though. People don't see that 2 hours and a half, 3 hours just went by, and you record 2 episodes in those 3 hours, plus editing, plus uploading, which is also a wait. So yeah, it happens, and that's happened a ton. Can't tell you. Check this out. We have in total since day one, we have 104 episodes recorded.
Oh my
Out of those
God.
104, we're at what, 93, 94, I think. Let me check real quick for you.
Oh my God. You guys have been putting in that work, girl.
Yeah.
We have 93 episodes uploaded.
So,
So those are the episodes that are not getting posted.
Yeah. But you know what? I don't feel like I'm missing out because I'd rather you guys be okay than me find out the cheese man. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, the cheese
Yeah.
is always good, but
but not when it's gonna affect your personal life, girl. Like, I feel, and I think, what you guys are both doing, like, I'm in awe of both of you. You guys are doing such an amazing job keeping your relationship intact and really putting each other first, because that's really gonna make the difference.
Yeah.
How has it been, kind of steering away a little bit from the projects that you have been creating, being parents so soon after being married? Because now you guys are married 2 years?
It'll be
almost 2 years.
yeah, almost
Almost
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're close.
The best month of the year, by the way. Best month. April.
Because it's your birthday or something?
Yes.
I was like,
You guys got married April what?
I'd say about October.
hmm.
The 8th.
Yeah.
April 8th.
April 8th.
Okay, you guys are still good. Yeah. I'm towards the end of the month. No, but how has it changed, especially like for you, Jackie? I know Brandon's like all happy. He got his little junior, his little twin. He has the beautiful wife. He has it all. But as a woman, we go through so many changes, How has this affected you? And have you seen a notice of a change in your relationship?
Well, it's been good. I feel like it's been tough just because I'm with the baby with Sale all day. So sometimes it's like Brandon comes home from work all happy or whatever, and he thinks I'm not tired just because I'm home all day. But it's like, boy, this is a full-time job,
Yeah.
What are Brandon's days off, Jackie?
Um,
When Saturday and Sunday.
Saturday, yeah.
Saturday and Sunday? Next Saturday, give her a day off, Brandon. I want to see you take care of the whole house, top to bottom, take care of the baby, take care of yourself, and she'll get home strolling by in at 5 o'clock, all happy.
I'll go I'll go Instagram live for like 9 hours. It'll be like a whole day of Instagram live, so that you know that
You'll
I
vlog.
good vlog. Staying at home with my son for 9 hours. It's gonna be the title of the vlog.
Yeah. No, but I did have a few talks with him about it because it got to a point where I was like, it was messing with me, like,
Mhm.
because it was just too much with me, baby, and having to clean, having to cook, and doing this and that.
Yeah.
And it was a lot, and he wouldn't notice it, I feel like. And I was like, hey, we need to sit down and talk because I need help. Like, I need help with the house. I need help with the baby. But I think we figured it out, yeah. It's been good.
Yeah.
If
It's
not,
like-
we could send all the fans towards Brandon para que le manden hate in the DMs.
Hey, you fucking
You
douchebag.
want
Yes.
to comment, so. No, yeah, but it's been a lot better ever since I talked to him about it and let him know how I felt about certain things. So
Yeah.
It seems like you guys have really great communication. What has helped you guys have that good communication? Because you don't see that nowadays.
yeah, I mean,
We can say if you want.
we went to couples therapy.
Yeah.
Good. That's
For-
good.
Yeah.
So I think that helped a lot because when we were dating, our communication was really good.
Hmm.
But that was because it was through the phone.
Girl, and they lie to us when they're dating us. They lied to us. My husband lied to me for 2 years straight.
Yeah.
She's like, for 2 years straight, not just one, two.
Two, because we were friends one, and then we dated one, and then we got married on the third one. But he lied to me because as soon as we got married, everything changed. I'm like,
You're like, damn, who's this guy?
yes.
I
I'm like,
don't wash the dishes.
yes. My mother-in-law even lied to me. My mother-in-law was like, oh, él sabe cocinar, él sabe planchar, él sabe hacer todo. And
Everything.
yes, girl. So I'm like, oh, yes, I'm going to get the man of my dreams. And then I don't even get eggs in the morning. I'm like, can I get like a little buttered toast, something?
That's funny.
That's funny.
No,
Yeah.
but so couples therapy really helped you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, we went early on. Because a lot of that happened, I think, um, in the beginning of our relationship, we started off as friends and then, slowly went through, couples and whatnot and like dating.
Yeah.
But our communication was really good because we didn't see each other much in person, but we talked all day through messages. And so,
So we were good about that, but then we didn't get the chance to live together before we got married.
yeah,
So we didn't know how we
things were going to
actually
be,
were,
yeah.
you know? And
Uh,
then once we get married, it's like boom, like a whole change.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
different. It's a different, like,
Because he would
lifestyle
tell
change.
me, oh my God, like I wash the dishes, I cook, and
Uh,
then we get married. He forgets all that. It's like, boy.
Why did you lie?
I do know how to make some pretty mean eggs, all right? I make some fucking good eggs, and she can vouch to that.
Si te hace un huevito rancheros, frijolitos.
Not
De vez en
ranchero.
cuando. Yeah.
Ah, you only make scrambled.
But that's about it.
I'll make it,
though.
scramble and sunny side up.
Ay, ay, ay. That's
Yeah,
nothing.
but yeah, no. So we were having a lot of issues with that because we didn't know how to come to each other and have the trust in each other to talk in person about our problems. Um, and I think we started to struggle a lot through that. And there was things that were bothering her. There was things that were bothering me, and it started to accumulate. These things.
Yes, they do.
So I told her, I was like, hey, why don't we go to couples therapy? And that's the first time we actually say this on a podcast. So you also get that special.
Yes.
So yeah, we went to couples therapy early on in our first year of marriage, and it helped because it gave you a different perspective. It made you see not just your side and what made you upset. It made you see her side and what makes her upset, and how you guys can come together. How me and her can come together and talk about it. So I think over time, we've had our downs and ups, obviously, but
Yeah, we still struggle sometimes, but
I think it's been getting a lot better
mhm.
than it was in the first year.
Oh, for sure. I would say maybe after like the 15th year, you kind of start liking the person. I don't know. I'm just kidding. No, but it takes a while to get used to being married, living with this person 24/7. You love them. The love is there. Pero sometimes te cansas, and I think that's pretty normal. And I love that you guys are being open and honest about it, because this is what Embracing My Markings is all about. Being honest. Not everything is so perfect. Anybody can post a beautiful picture, right? Like I had no idea. I thought you guys were just perfect on your own. I'm like, who raised you guys? Like, you guys are amazing individuals. But to see that you guys have been working behind the scenes together and seeking out help, which is not always easy, right? Who was the one that brought it up? That was like, hey, maybe we should reach out to counseling or do something else.
I think Brandon did because well, can I say it?
Yeah.
He was already going to therapy before that.
Okay.
So he knew a little bit more about it than I did.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he brought it up, and I think the first time I was like, nah,
Yeah,
like I wasn't
too open
too,
up.
yeah,
She wasn't too open
yeah.
about it. Um,
Wow.
And I was like, you know what? Let's just try it because why not?
yeah.
What can I lose?
Yeah.
It's intimidating. Going to therapy is
Hmm.
intimidating, you know. You're talking to someone that you don't even know who they are and what they do, you know. You just know that they're your therapist and they're gonna supposedly help you. So going in
Supposedly.
there, you know, it's intimidating because you're also talking about what bothers you, and then you know, no one likes to get the truth told to them. So then you get told your truths, and you're like, oh shit, you know, I'm not all this and
Yeah.
that. I'm not a fucking bag of chips and a snack. I'm more like a, you know,
Yeah.
half an egg.
Or just crying in front of a complete
Yeah.
stranger.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my
Well,
God. That is, I props to both of you, and I hope whoever's hearing this can have that willingness to at least give it a try. It's not
yeah.
the end of the world. I kind of want to get your guys' opinion on this. The other day, I was talking to my son because I feel like my son's going to get married super young, you guys. Honestly, he's such a little lover boy. Y se me enamora bien fácil. And, and, um, and I was telling him, I said, you know what? I feel like me and your dad now, looking back, like at the beginning of our marriage, I wish that for the first one, minimum one, but even 2 years of marriage, you should disappear from like friends, family, figure it out, just you two.
Mhm.
No outside voices, like no nothing. You guys build like your own, como se dice, traditions.
Yeah.
Don't be discussing, oh, whose family's house are we going to? No, 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 no. Take that out of the way and kind of just focus on your marriage and build that relationship and just focus on it. And don't be calling a friend to complain. Don't be calling, the mom to complain, or, you know what I mean? I wish that would have happened. And so then my son, he's the type of person that he'll process things. He's just like his dad. It takes him a while to process it. And he came back to me like, I don't know, a week later, and he was like, Mom, I really like that idea. Whoever I am going to marry, I'm going to tell them we need to disappear for a year. And I
Yeah.
was like,
Love that idea.
Yeah.
I really wish we would have done that too.
Yeah,
Because
you
there's just a lot of talking
around.
all the time.
Yeah,
Especially when you're,
your first, you know, I remember this guy. I'm gonna tell you a
oh
story.
yeah,
We got married, right?
yeah.
So it was the day of our marriage, and we didn't do nothing big for our wedding, because truthfully, our wedding, we're married through legally, right? We haven't
Mhm.
done our big wedding through our religion. So we get married, right? And we're going out to dinner, and that's kind of our celebration. We wanted something small, and it's just literally
We just invited some friends and like our close family.
super close. We're talking mom, dad, and maybe a few friends, right?
Yeah.
okay.
And this guy, you know, who's a family friend, he comes up to us at the end of the dinner, and he's like, mind you, this guy is close to 40, right?
Okay.
2 kids, not
He's
married.
not 40, he's like 30.
Okay, 30.
He
He's
looks
30,
40.
Yeah.
early 30s, mid 30s, right? Something like that.
Okay.
So he comes up to me and he's like, "Yeah, Brandon, you know, it's not easy being with someone. It's not gonna be all rainbows and colors and flowers and all that, this and that, you know." It's just starts talking to me, sure, trying to give me
Basically
advice.
complaining about his life.
Yeah, but through complaining about his life, right?
Hmm.
Like giving me advice through a negative light, if that makes sense. On my wedding
Yes.
day.
Yeah.
Mind
Oh,
you, this guy, again, isn't married, nothing, right? Has 2 kids and everything. But in my head, I'm like, man, my form of thinking about marriage is completely different than some of these people that have tried to give us advice, you know? And that's the small talk you get to hear around. So for us, if we would have done that in our first year, I think that would have been completely different, you know? Even now, like, it's hard. Like, for example, freaking holidays, they're so exhausting.
Yeah.
So exhausting. Because you know, we have 3 homes to go to,
mm-hmm.
for example. Christmas, it's two homes.
I think this year we handle it a bit better
Yeah,
this past year.
yeah. I mean, holidays for us, it's like,
Mhm.
yeah, they're supposed to be
It's
fun,
exhausting.
but it's
Instead
very
of, yeah,
exhausting.
we like don't even enjoy them.
We're
And see, I feel like if you were to, this is because it might sound so harsh, but I'm like, if we were just to for that year just involve yourself with your mate and really
yeah,
focus on that, you build your own traditions. And that's what
yeah,
it's supposed to be like, right? Now that you guys have a child, you guys are going to have your own traditions. So unfortunately, always being with the parents or even giving, having dinner here and having dessert over there and just giving gifts over here, like it's like, no, what if I just want to be home and I just want to enjoy my little family and we want to, I don't know, this is just an example, but it's like we want to make gingerbread houses, for this, or this is how we're going to do it because this is what our son enjoys. This is what we enjoy doing with him. I feel like sometimes being selfish is more beneficial for your marriage than trying to please everybody because that transition is so hard because you're going from being a sister, a friend, a daughter to now being a
yeah,
wife.
Yeah.
yeah. And not even that too. I think. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say too, like it's in where we live. It's a very small town, city, I guess you could call it. But it's hard to find people our age who have, who are married. Let's say who do have a kid. Not only that, like I think me and her are very peculiar with who we associate ourselves around.
Yeah.
As we've seen it where the friend starts talking shit on the husband or the girlfriend or the boyfriend. Next thing you know, that little influence plants a seed and they're done. So we're
Yes.
very peculiar around that stuff, and that's hard. It's hard to feel like the only ones. And I know we're not the only ones. That's like maybe a naive perspective, but that's how it feels.
Hmm.
And so dealing with that and feeling like, it's hard to find friends who understand your situation, is not easy. But then you have the other side where, like you said, you're also trying to build your own family, your own little traditions, your own little things. And that's hard when you have family calling you, every week saying, hey, are you going to come over this week? Hey, are this and that? Hey, this. And it's like, okay, like, relax. And I think we had that discussion very early on too,
Yeah.
you know?
And I mean, even before this year ended, we were like, next year, let's start doing our own little traditions
Yes.
and like just doing things at home by ourselves instead of
Yeah.
just going to family and this and that and just
Hmm.
being everywhere. Just enjoy our little family.
Yeah.
Your life
Because
is
the
going to
first,
change.
Yeah.
Your life is going to change. And at times, you guys are going to feel very lonely because trust me, we've been there. But if I could give you any advice, is be open to be friends even with people that are not your age group.
yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, dude, all my friends are like 25 and
Older.
up,
Yeah.
like literally.
I feel
What?
elderly.
No, I didn't. Wait, my bad. You know what? I
He
didn't.
said 25 and up, and I'm like, I am way past 25, buddy. What are you trying to say?
I'm sorry. No, no. What I'm trying to say is that for me
No, no, but hold
personally,
on before you go, don't lose that thought. Sorry. Let the people know, just in case you guys didn't watch his first episode. How old are
yeah,
you, Brendan?
I just turned 22.
And Jackie?
I'm 23.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see, so that's why I'm laughing, you guys, because I'm like, oh yeah, yeah. I'm like over
Yeah.
here, I'm flirting with 40 already.
No, yeah, like I think personally my friend group, my friends are older than me. And not in a bad, I don't think I say that in a bad way, but for me personally, it's hard to have a conversation with a 20-year-old, 21-year-old, 22-year-old. Um, because sometimes, maybe it's not because you choose to, but it's how you grow up, I think. And what develops you. Your maturity levels are different, you know. Um, so my friends from high school, right, or friends that I knew that I don't really talk to anymore, who are still great friends and all. sometimes it's hard for me to uh, be on that same level as
Connect with them.
as far as, yeah, as far as conversation wise goes, and when I hang out with them. Why? Because my maturity level is so it's different. I'm thinking about fucking car insurance while they're thinking about what they're gonna do this Saturday. I'm
Yes.
thinking about taxes and how the fuck I'm
Yeah.
gonna who I'm gonna go with for my taxes while they can be worried about what type of shirt they're gonna buy. It's very different, and that's
Yeah.
not to say that I'm like bored or whatnot, and I don't think that's for her either. But
Mm-hmm.
it's just that the conversations are different.
Yes.
Um, so and truthfully, I only have one friend who's my age who I can sit down and have a conversation with, and we're good on those conversations. Like
You
it's
guys are
good
on the same
conversation.
level.
Yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
he's also very mature,
Yeah.
and he has. I mean, yeah, even
Yeah.
his partner's older than him too, so it's different.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Miss Jackie? Have you been able to keep in touch with your friend group, or
Uh,
has it been difficult también?
I think it's been a little bit
Let me.
difficult. Stop.
Stop it.
Um, I think I consider my family more my friends now than actual friends. I feel like I can't connect the same anymore because, like Brandon said, we're not on the same maturity level. And I have a kid now, and a lot of my friends don't. So it's like you're trying to party, but I'm trying to, you know, feed my kid.
Yes.
And it's different, like you can't,
Yeah,
I don't know.
it changes.
Yeah,
I think it
it
changes.
changes a lot, but
Even like before our son, like being married, it's a completely different vibe.
mm-hmm.
Than like than friends, I think.
Yeah.
Because being married, it's not just like getting married and being able to call your spouse, wife and husband. You also have to set boundaries.
Yes.
You also have to set boundaries with your friends and say, hey, I'm not allowing this. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm not okay with this. It's not just I'm gonna go hang out with my friend. It's can my wife is gonna stay home and we're gonna hang out with my friend. I gotta make sure that she's okay, that she knows I'm doing this, that she trusts me. I'm not doing something bad. So that like those little things change you as a person so much,
Of
so much.
course, of course. I had, I had many acquaintances. I won't call them friends, but many acquaintances that I knew, growing up from church, from school, from the neighborhood, because I've been in the same neighborhood for many, many years. I grew up here in San Diego. So, but I fell out with many people. And it's funny because now that we're both almost at the same levels, and just recently I reconnected with my college friend. And, we used to always be at the beach. We used to go out to the clubs. We used to do everything. Then I got married, but she still wasn't married. So we stopped doing things. But she was there when my baby was born. I just found the picture of her holding my newborn at the hospital. And now she has her kids, and I'm almost done with my kid, but we're kind of meeting up again and kind of catching up. And I tell her, like, I'm very thankful, that you were able to respect my time as a mom and as a wife. And, even though we weren't at each other's weddings, even though we weren't there for each other's everything, we're able to still connect and still have love for each other.
I think that's
That's
how you know
awesome.
that's a true friend too. That you
Yeah.
can
Mm-hmm.
kind of reconnect in that form. Um,
Yeah.
you know, so because sometimes you won't be able to make it to certain things, and shit. I'm sorry. What
It
else can you
happens.
say? And one thing I was just gonna say on this friend thing, because I do have some questions for you that I want to ask you. Um,
Sure.
uh, yeah, like, are I mean, I don't know how to phrase this. Okay, let's say people my age, my colleagues, I guess you could call them.
The babies.
Even the talk is different. Even that changes. I have friends that I have nothing against, and they talk the way they talk because that's just how they are, and I love them for who they are. So that comes along. But they'll like say things like, you know, "F this B word," what's that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
fuck this B word, or like this B word is DMing me, or that. I'm like, man, like I do not talk. I don't like that form of talking.
Yeah.
That's I don't like that form of talking. I think it's even falls into maybe sometimes if you talk about if you talk like that to a female or about a female and you're married, it's like, damn, I'm like disrespecting my wife at that point too, you know?
Yeah.
Because I mean,
And
why
it
would I?
happens, and it happens, but I feel like when you show who you are through your actions and you don't respond to that conversation, people will catch on and they'll know. Like this college friend, we met up and the other day, just yesterday, was it yesterday? I don't even know what day I'm in, you guys, to be honest with you. But I think it was yesterday that we met up for coffee and I cussed. I said the F word. And she was like, Maribel, you cuss? And mind you, we were in college in 2004. So, like, I know this girl for many, many years. And she's like, you cussed. And everybody around me usually is not, I don't want to use the word afraid. I don't think that's the term. But everybody's usually very respectful around me because that's not the type of energy that I put out. So I think that has a lot to do with it, too.
Yeah.
How you
Yeah.
present yourself.
Yeah, because I mean, yeah, we're married and all, but I think as humans, we're still forming who we want to be.
Oh, yes.
And that never changes. I don't think that ever goes away. I think even when you hit, even when we'll hit 30, let's say, we're still gonna change things about us to who we want to be. And so when you're putting out the energy of I don't cuss, that's because maybe that's what feels right for you, and that's who you like being,
Yeah.
right? And sometimes people are the complete opposite, and that's fine. That's who they are. But you can sometimes not clash heads. I don't want to say, but find the indifferences there, like the differences between.
Yeah, no, definitely. No, yeah, because if they're just being disrespectful, like if you were to voice to your friend that was calling a female the B word and you're like, "Hey, buddy, like I have sisters, I have a wife, maybe in the future I have a daughter and I would hate for somebody to express themselves about them how you're expressing
Yeah,
yourself about this girl that I don't even know." And if
yeah.
he gets bothered by that,
Then yeah, I mean, you can't do anything about that, right?
yeah, and you just kind of have to. Then the ball's in your court to be like, I don't want to hang around that because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't feel
and that
comfortable.
yeah, and you figure that I think out on the way, as you kind of go through life and life experiences. So it's hard though. I mean, it's not easy either. So, but it's I think part of life. So
Yeah.
As long as you guys have love and respect for one another, you guys can get
yeah.
very far, far, very far.
Oh, huh.
I'm like tough. Hard. No, pero I feel like, because there's always going to be disagreements. You both are going to be evolving as people. God, if I was to tell you like what me and my husband used to argue about to what we argue about now, it's so stupid. You look back at certain things and you're like, oh God, this is so stupid. But I'd rather have had those stupid arguments
Yeah,
over something that's really, really hard to go through, you
yeah.
know?
I want to ask you, when you were like in the beginning phases of your marriage or even like dating your husband, did you guys have like those quote unquote, which not quote unquote, they're hard conversations, like the what religion you fall under, like, political, like where do you stand, how do you want to raise a child, those type of conversations?
So, the religion that we both grew up in, because we met at church,
Oh,
so
Oh.
we had the same faith. Um, but the religion that we grew up with really encourages. It's not a law. It's not a law, but it really encourages that you marry with somebody within your faith so you avoid those disagreements later, because something as big as religion or politics or all that can really, really put a strain in a relationship. And we've seen it many times. And so for both of us, I think it was very important for both of us to find somebody within the religion so then they would have the same morals and principles that we had. So when we found each other, it was almost like, oh my God, you're meant for me.
'cause I think this goes back to what you were saying about taking a year or two to disappear
Yes. Yes.
We didn't have this conversation, right? I mean, we kind of did, but we didn't.
Oh
Because
no.
I'm
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
asking,
So let me just say, a lot has happened in between our families. So we also did not have a big wedding. Um, for my husband and I, for both of us, it was important for us to have God's blessing. That was number one. We didn't need nothing else. Like, I didn't care for a fancy party. I didn't care for whatever. We just had dinner with my family, actually, because our families didn't even get along.
wow,
Um,
wow,
so it was very challenging at the beginning, and it remained challenging because then, there was, unfortunately, there was misunderstandings between me and his sisters and his mom, and everybody starts getting involved, and then my sister with him, and it was just it became overwhelming. And it wasn't until we said, okay, we're number one, we have to protect our home, we have to protect our relationship with each other, that we're not going to allow them to come in anymore.
right,
And whatever your guys' opinions, thoughts, whatever you have, that is yours, but leave us alone. And I think once my husband stepped up, not only to his mom, but also to my parents, and kind of set the tone of, hey, I'm the man, I'm the one that's paying the bills, I'm the one that's taking care of her, I'm the one. Let us be. It all became settled, and it all kind of was like, okay. So now, whether we go to church or not go to church or whatever, it's nobody's business. That's between us and God. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, because you were like, yeah, no, that makes sense. I think because I wouldn't say we're both like super religious, but we obviously believe in God, and we have our Creator, and that's what we believe in. And on my side, I went through like 3 different religions, um, and so I was exploring a lot. And then I think from your side, you were just kind of one religion only. So for me, I came in with like different thoughts and fucking this and that, And from her, it was like, hey, this is what I believe in. So I don't think we clashed heads necessarily,
Mm-hmm.
but I think my ideas were a little bit different from hers, where I don't think we should push this too much, or I don't believe in this and this and that. And then she would, say, okay, I can see that and whatnot. So it's like we didn't talk about religion before we got married. And so now we're both, I think, finding what that is for us
Yes.
as a couple. Because individually, you can, do whatever, right? Like individually, I
Yeah.
can read the Bible, and that can be my religion.
Mm-hmm.
But together as a unit, okay, what do we believe in?
And what are you going to
What
teach your son?
exactly?
Yeah.
Because when it comes to your son can never know that you two are arguing. Your son can never know that you don't agree, Jackie, with what Brandon's saying. He can't know that Brandon is like not helping out mom. He better see Brandon always helping mom always respecting dad. But I think it's gonna be whatever both of you come to terms with. I feel like sometimes religion, organized religion, can really, ¿cómo se dice? Opacar. I don't know how to say that in English. Opacar. Overshadow. Thank you. Overshadow what your relationship with God is supposed to be.
Yeah. Okay. I'm following. Yeah.
So the most important thing is your relationship with God. So in our religion, we're taught, we're supposed to follow Jesus' example, which is the the Son of God. But that doesn't mean that I have to do everything that, the elders or the pastors or the priest are telling me to do, because they have nothing to do with my relationship with God.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So in a way, sometimes I feel like that overshadows my relationship, and then that's when I have an issue with it. Because I'm like,
sure.
God knows my heart. God knows me better than I know myself. So don't come and tell me that I'm doing something wrong when I know he reads my heart and I have pure intentions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I follow you and I agree with you. And I think for me, I think with organized religion, I've just noticed and seen and witnessed, not witnessed, but noticed and seen a lot over and over that it contradicts itself a lot, sometimes. Um, I don't think it's most like the members contradict themselves a lot. So to me, it's always been that like, okay, you go to Sunday and you do this and that, right? Sure, but then what comes on Saturday? What about the day before?
The day after.
The day after, So it's a lot of that is for me, and then there's certain things that I'm just like, I don't believe that. I'm sorry, but I just don't believe that, and that's just my own personal belief, like,
Yeah.
But, and that goes with politics too, like barely now I'm finding out like where I stand politically in what I believe in, politically, and I don't think I've ever thought about that, and we never had that conversation about politics. And so sometimes she comes at me, she's like, well, what do you think about this? And I'm like, man, let me process this. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is what I believe. This is my opinion. And then, I think we end up agreeing a lot, but we just never had the conversations about those topics, because we were just too young and didn't think about politics.
And let me tell you, in 5 years, you might change again where you stand. And that's the beauty of being married. I think that's the beauty of it. You guys get to grow with one another. And when you realize that you're both are constantly changing, right now your thought, Brandon, could be one thing and Jackie could be another. And then Jackie changes her mind and says, you know what? Now I believe this because now I've experienced this.
Yeah.
And and you guys kind of just have to like sway with one another and balance one another out. And that's the beauty of marriage. You grow together.
Yeah. And I think it's also like the communicating, being able to have those open talks about those things, and be honest, like really be honest, even though like you might be scared or nervous about what she's going to think or what I'm going to think. Like you got to be honest about those things.
Yes. She's your best friend. She's everything. Before you even think of calling anybody else, she should be the first phone call you have.
Yeah, literally.
When you want to complain about her, instead of running to your friend, a family, mom, dad, whoever, you call God and you're like, look, I have some complaining about Jackie, God. This is what I expected and this is what you're giving me. What are you trying to tell me?
Yeah, I think it falls down to communicating, and we don't, I think I've been lucky to find a woman like her where I don't have to fear the fact that she's going to go talk to her friends about me in a negative light.
Love that. Love that.
I don't have to think about that. Same with parents, and that's something that we've agreed on very early on. Our problems are our problems, not my mom's, not your mom's, not my dad's, not your dad's, not your friends, not my friends. It's ours. And if we have such a big issue, then I have the phone number to my therapist and we can go.
Yes.
And that's literally what we did. And, now we're here where, sure, we're maybe not 100% open, I'd say, with each other. Like, there's still some things that we might have struggles with, but we've gotten to the point where we at least can acknowledge that for each other.
Yeah.
Understand that. More important than anything, like, say, okay, this is going on, I can understand that. So it's just one of those things that communication is important, I'd say.
Number one. I think that's number one. Respect is definitely number two. And love is number three, to me. But both of you are amazing. I love seeing what you guys are doing. I'm not on social media, like, super active, like I always say. But the other day, I went in and I saw a picture of your baby. And I was like, oh, my God. Like, that's the first thing on my timeline. And I was just, like, melting. I'm like, oh, my God, I want to bite his cheeks.
He was up so we can bring him in here, huh?
I know.
Don't wake him up, Brandon. Don't do it.
He always does that. I'm like, dude.
You could do that on a Saturday or Sunday on your days off. But thank you so much to both of you. It's been such a pleasure speaking to both of you. I hope that we get to meet each other in person. That's still my goal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Before we end though, I have one last question for you. If I
Sure.
can ask it.
Sure.
Okay. So I know like a few months ago, correct me if I'm wrong, but a few months ago you had some like health issues, right?
Yes.
And then you're not getting back into the role of doing your podcast.
Yes. I've been out.
Yeah. So what your baseline, if I'm wrong, correct me, okay, is to, embrace people who have a story that you want to share to the world, right?
Yes.
Is that
Yes.
Cool. Where do you see your podcast and your content 5 years from now, 2 years from now? Like, where do you want to grow?
Oh my God, that's such a good question. That's a good question.
Reverse Uno this.
For real.
Oh man. That's a very good question. To be completely honest with you, I hope that I'm able to leave a little blueprint on the internet that you can create content genuinely, and that you don't need to be exposing yourself or twerking for attention. Like, you are enough. Your story is enough for you to get that validation and connection with others.
Yeah.
And if I could just help one person not feel alone in what they're going through, my mission is done.
Yeah. Wow.
I love that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Slogan, just genuine content.
Yes. Genuine.
That is your slogan.
Oh, thank you. Thank
Right
you.
underneath where it says, and podcast on your logo, right underneath there, just put genuine content.
Right? Well, my little tagline is creating content con corazón.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
Creating content con corazón. Because I feel like it's important to know, we all deserve a little spot in the world. And if my little corner is tiny, but I'm okay. Because I've already touched people that are like, oh my God, like I heard this episode and that's just what I needed to hear. Or, oh my God, I heard that story and I can't believe that, there's somebody else that went through that. I'm going through that in the moment. And I'm able to connect them to each other and be like, hey, here, find out what else she's doing to, better her situation.
And you've reached like international levels too with your guest, which is awesome. How long have you been doing this for?
Seriously, since 2022.
So 2 years.
Yeah, almost 2
year
years.
and a half.
Yeah.
And you've reached, because I see you post people from Spain and freaking.
Yeah. Well, it's because I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to reach out to people. I'm like, I'm going to reach out to you. If you say no to me, you don't know who the hell I am. You'll never remember me. And you said no, and I'll forget about you too.
Do you think at one point you're going to want to do podcasting in person, like have a studio? Or do you think that Zoom version is going to evolve so much where it's going to get better? Like,
can I end the podcast and actually talk to you about that? I would love to talk to both of you, actually.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So thank you so much for joining us, guys. We'll see you guys later. Go and check out Once a Project podcast.
Yep.
Everything will be on the description box. So you guys, thank you for tuning in. Bye.